The Fantasy Six-Pack Hour. With your hosts, Joe Bond.
You're awful.
And AJ Applegarth.
It's Sin Shu Chu. It's a mouthful.
All right. Welcome to the Fantasy Six-Pack Hour. My name is Joe Bond, founder of FantasySixPack.net. With me, as usual, my co-host, Mr. AJ Applegarth. What's up, man?
I don't know if you've read my shirt, but I'm in the best shape of my life right now. That shape, round, circular.
I was gonna say I don't believe you. I don't believe
Complete.
you.
Okay. How do you stop a circle? Breaks. That's how.
A wedge.
Not this circle.
Okay.
Breaks.
Anyway. Yeah, so we are live right now with the Carolina Panthers against the Houston Texans on Thursday Night Football, and it is it's an awesome game.
It's
Not really.
bloodbath, okay?
Yeah, so
No
I mean
Tyrod.
Carolina
No
went up.
Tyrod.
Oh yeah. No, Tyrod.
CMC.
Screw that. I'm sorry, bro.
Gone.
It's Tyrod. Yeah, CMC hurt, by the way. If for those of you who have not figured that out yet,
Spoiler
sure
alert.
everybody's phones blew up. Hurt in the early second quarter, hamstring injury, came up lame in the middle of a run. So that sucks. You hope it's a grade 1, but it's we'll see. That's all we can do right now. Anyway, man, so we're going to get you guys ready for week 3 of the fantasy football season, minus the Thursday night game, obviously. And to do that, we're going to go over some of the hot topics, news and notes, stemming from week 2, get into the injury news, and then go through our week 3 DFS picks here. So before we continue, though, I just want to remind everybody to, hit that subscribe, that follow button on YouTube, and, I say Periscope, but it's apparently officially dying tomorrow, and so hopefully I will be live on Twitter Live next week. But I don't know what's going on with my broadcast studio here, so hopefully they'll be ready for it. But also, give those reviews on iTunes and Spotify, etc. We appreciate all of your support, and it goes a long way, guys. So anyway, let's just jump right into it and do our beer of the week.
Beer.
All right, man. What do you got right now?
I think we should let you go first.
I see why. Because you want me to completely butcher this name. So it's an other half.
I didn't see it. Hold on.
Dale Carlia Super Speedway. Carlia. Dale Carlia. Dale Carlia Super Speedway. It's an Imperial IPA. It's 8.5%. It's pretty solid. I forget what I had my first one on Sunday, and I forget what I gave it, but I will tell you in just 1 second. I feel like it was like a 3.5. It actually wasn't all that great. For another half beer, it was like super underwhelming. 3.5. So that's not great for them, to be honest. Like, they have way better beers than this, so I was pretty disappointed. But 3.5. I mean, it's a average IPA, so I'm good. Let's go.
Yes. And before I get too far away from your earlier talking points, I would like to say that today's broadcast will not be confused with Hot Topic, the store in the mall.
Is that even still a store? I don't go to malls anymore. I mean, barely. So I don't know. Anyway, you just drank your beer.
All
so
right.
you want to tell everybody what you got?
So tonight I am again in the best shape of my life, and I am drinking a Forest. It is a hazy triple IPA, 11% with Citra.
You're gonna be feeling good later.
Talus, Amarillo, and apparently oats. Cool. Notes of bright.
I mean, oats, man. That's healthy, right?
Rich citrus and pine. Go figure. A beer called Forest has pine.
No kidding.
That there's thinking. That's the way to the world through your mind. But dipping off and keeping things, we'll say, a little light and foresty. You know, I taint's gonna lie. We've got to be talking about Mr. Lawnmower 4.0. Our friends,
Guys might need to be
Manscaped.
trimming that forest down there, guys. Let's be honest.
Exactly.
Right?
You
I mean,
don't want to have,
guys, your lady friends will be happy.
you know,
Promise.
unlike Monty Python, we don't want a shrubbery. You need to be svelte, clean, clear, collected, and you can't forget about the boys. Just saying. So, that being said, the support for tonight's Fantasy Six Pack Hour broadcast is brought to you by Manscaped. They offer precision engineered tools for your family jewels. They've just launched their 4th generation trimmer here that we were just showing, the Lawnmower 4.0. So you need to get on board with over 2 million men worldwide who have trusted Manscaped with this new offer that we are getting out here. 20% off, people. Come on. Your balls deserve this. 20% off, free worldwide shipping with our exclusive code F6P20 at manscaped.com.
It's in the ticker, guys, and it'll be in the notes. I also got to say, by the way, this ball deodorant. This stuff's pretty sexy, man. We all have the chafing issue every now and then. This solves that problem, guys. This is the real deal. Get on it.
I like
the spritzer. Yeah, dude.
Crop Reviver. All right. The ball toner. How could you not need and or want some ball toner? And the best part about it is
be like cologne for your balls, dude. It's fine.
They smell like a man. They make you feel like a man. A man with a great trimmed, ready to go bush.
Or
ball
forest.
Toner, ball deodorant. Manscaped.com. Live it, love it, learn it, know it. F6P20, baby. Come on. Bring it home. Let's do this. Free shipping worldwide. 20% off.
Your wife seems to agree.
Not the only one that looks good, baby.
All right, man. So let's jump into this, man. So we got some week 2 news and notes. Obviously, man, starting off here with these, just awful injuries to the quarterbacks. Like, it's just disastrous. Obviously, we all know, and I'm pointing to my TV that nobody knows is over there. Tyrod Taylor on the IR. Carson Wentz unlikely to go with multiple 2 ankle sprains. One's a high ankle sprain. So, I mean, earlier on it was like, oh yeah, I think I'll be good. Dude, no chance. Derek Carr is gonna be good to go, but he's dealing with an ankle injury himself, I believe. And then Tua Tagovailoa, he's out with broken ribs now. Baker Mayfield was dealing with a shoulder dislocation that they popped back in mid-game. And he went right back in, but, you never know what the lingering effects of that are going to be. Big Ben, I skipped one, I know, on purpose. Big Ben is dealing with I didn't write it down for some dumb reason. A left pectoral injury, but he's saying he's going to do everything he can to be ready to go. And then we got Andy Dalton, who's dealing with a knee injury, missed the last part of the game, and now has been just officially just pulled. So it's just like, you knew as soon as Justin Fields got into the game for the Bears, they were just going to be like, yeah, we're done. Might as well just turn the corner there with that. I want to ask you, though, man, like, okay, so we obviously know Mills isn't going to be worth a damn here, but, like, of these backups, right, so I guess we're going to look at Carson Wentz's backups, possibly. We don't know who's going to play, Easton or Huntley. We don't know. We got Tua's backup of Brissett. We got Fields, and then we got Big Ben with possibly, old news Mason Rudolph. Like, who, any of these backups that you're actually remotely interested in for fantasy in, let's say, even like super flex leagues? Like, what are you looking at here? Because people are going to lose their like second, third quarterbacks in super flex leagues with some of these guys, especially like Tua. Yeah. Are you running out to go grab, the backup and just plugging him in, or what are you doing?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not against going after an Eason to plug in for Wentz, because obviously he's too busy living his life listening to David Bowie's China Doll on repeat, because all he does is break shit. You suck, sir.
Break himself.
Have a nice day. But yeah, Eason, I've actually had him in a dynasty league and was stoked that I had held on to him because of Wentz being Wentz. I'm not afraid to take a shot on him. I don't know if I'd necessarily plug him in and start him this week, but I wouldn't mind picking him up. Fields, obviously, he's been drafted by most people, so it's unlikely that he'd be out there available. Mason Rudolph, no thank you. Do not want anything to do with that. And Jacoby Brissett, former Colt, probably would have been the starter had he still been there. But, he's got to jump in for Tua now. I don't hate that pickup either, but Tua's gonna be back, so it's not like you're not really looking at any of these guys for a long-term situation, aside from possibly Eason.
Honestly, man, like, I get that Tua's gonna be back, man. Like, I mean, broken ribs, that's
it's not good. No.
That's not something you're coming back from quickly, right? I mean, like, so I did Scott Fish because my third quarterback just happened to be Taysom Hill, who I was kind of just, flipping the coin. All the quarterbacks just flew off the board in that league. So I was like, you know what, whatever. I'll grab one of the Saints guys and just hopefully I picked the right one. And I went with Hill because I also thought he had, just like the random play upside if I had to go that way. Didn't work out, but so I went with, in Scott Fish, I actually put out a bid $3 and got him for Brissett, and thinking that he's got the most long-term play out of that. Fields was already grabbed, and he was drafted ahead of my second quarterback, Derek Carr, which was like, haha, thank you. That's working out pretty nice, but yeah, I don't know how long. I know they put Tyrod on the IR with the hamstring thing, but like I feel like you can come back a little earlier from the hamstring than you get broken ribs. I don't know. I'm not a doctor, but I just feel like that's going to happen. So, like, I'm just hoping it kind of worked out that way, but who knows, man? Like, it could be kind of crazy. So, yeah, I mean, the biggest thing we're all going to look at here is obviously Fields and see how it works out with this offense. And the rest of these offenses all take a nosedive, I feel like, without their quarterbacks. But Fields in there in place for Dalton, you're going like, ooh, there's some intrigue here. Like, we saw Mooney get a ton of targets last week. We'll get to that. Like, he's banged up, but so who knows if he plays, but you just hope that him and A-Rob can get on the same page and this offense just starts, kind of moving, and like Fields can run a little bit and it takes a little pressure off this offense and can keep the ball a little longer, really, more than anything. Like, that's the thing. They just need to keep the ball longer than it was with Dalton, because it was like 5 plays and out every time. It was bad. So
yeah.
Anyway,
we knew that was going to happen, but
we did. As soon as Fields got as soon as it was announced, everyone was like, "Oh, thank you, finally." Yeah. So,
but as you were saying, Davis Mills is going to be worth nothing. He just threw a touchdown to Anthony Miller. So yeah, he's gonna suck. Don't go after him. No, you probably should if you're very desperate.
Although they just threw a touchdown, so there you go.
That's what I just said. I'm making fun of you because
not listening. I'm not listening to you. I'm reading stuff. I don't like that. I don't listen to you. Just get over it.
You should.
Should I? You always tell me not to listen to you, by the way.
Not always. Sometimes.
All right.
Anyway,
move on.
All right, so moving on. 49ers running backs. I feel like this is probably going to be a weekly topic at this point.
We might just stop talking about it at some point, but yeah.
Hopefully, that'd be nice. So we talked about Mostert going down last week. Mostert,
I
whatever.
think it's Mostert, but I get you.
Ketchup, relish, who knows?
Tomato.
You got Mitchell was the huge pickup last week. You got Sermon, who was the healthy scratch week 1. You got Jermichael Hasty. Guess what? They're all hurt now. So, cool. Trenton Cannon is awesome at special teams. You got Patrick Jacques. And then you've got now known as journeyman Kerryon Johnson. He's on the practice squad now. So this is probably his 3rd practice squad in 3 weeks, maybe 3 months. I don't know. Eagles tried to turn that into something at one point. I mean, who do we care about here? Or are we just staying away and then hoping one of these guys gets healthy?
So I'll be honest, I wrote these notes yesterday, and this was before, in the middle of the afternoon when I'm trying to get my daughter ready for softball. I got notes that Sermon was looking good for this week. So obviously Sermon is the guy you want if he's healthy. Mitchell is also, he's still questionable with, what is it? I don't know, a million injuries at this point.
Some manscaped.
Shoulder. Thank you. But there's
The hell was
some random. Yeah, that was our.
Words from above.
That was right with the background music going on, the background movie going on here.
Forget thine shoulder injury.
Sorry, you caught me off guard.
No, it's cool, man. That is our producer, Mike LaPlante. Thank you for chiming in there. Not making me fumble too much here. Anyway, I mean, there's still optimism that he can play, but I mean, it sounds like it's going to be more Sermon than anybody. But I mean, honestly, dude, I just want nothing to do with this backfield at this point. I'll tell you what, though, like, I've noticed in a couple of my leagues that Wilson he's on the waivers, and I've got IR spots available, and I was just like, yoink, and just threw him on my IR. Like, why not? At this point, like, I feel like if he comes back, like, he's almost got to be the guy, unless Sermon or somebody just like completely blows up, which doesn't seem to be happening. So my honest answer, like, just avoid unless Mitchell or Sermon is like the lone running back, because I don't think anybody's trusting Trenton Cannon or Jacques or Kerryon's probably not even going to get activated at this point because one of those guys probably will. So it's just, the 49ers, good luck. Roll that eight-sided die and just, see which one lands, right? Yeah. That's what it feels like. So
get ourselves a little game of D&D going on here.
Yeah, right? So
Dumb and Dumber.
I want to move on here to New Orleans, man. Like, we gave them so much credit after last week, after week 1, I mean, and they blew out the Packers, and Winston looked like he was this efficient, great quarterback. Sorry, sneezed a little there. Wow.
You wrong.
Was I wrong? Everybody was wrong. Holy crap.
Yeah.
I mean, he was straight up garbage last week. 11 for 22, 111 yards. I mean, look, we got to remember, like, he only threw for like what $150 in week 1 too. Threw 20 times. Sort of similar. And they were getting blown out in this game too against Carolina. They were getting destroyed. 2 picks, no touchdowns. Like, it was bad. To top it all off, by the way, Kamara only got 12 total touches, 4 receptions and 8 rushes. They like decided not to run the ball in this game, like, despite that being their, biggest weapon at this point. Okay, so what do we think about the Saints at this point? Like, was week 1 an albatross? Like, was it just sort of like whatever, or was week 2 the like, okay, that's the outlier?
I would like to say it's going to be a combination of both. aside from Kamara, I think he's going to be fine. There's no way they're going to only relegate him to 12 touches in a game, even if they're down. They can't. Like you said, he's the best weapon until, Michael Thomas comes back, I guess. But you don't know what you're going to get with that. Winston, I just feel like we knew this was going to happen. He's going to have games where he's good and he's valuable for your fantasy squads, and he's going to have these duds. So consistency is not his game, unless it's consistently throwing 30 and 30.
He's on
not the kind of consistency you want.
Is he on pace? He's just under.
No, he's under.
Well,
he didn't
actually,
have any picks last week.
Yeah, but he threw.
2.
Yeah. Okay, so he's slightly under, but he's slightly on pace for the interceptions again. So there you go, especially with 17 games now. So there you go. Hey, it's gonna even out.
Oh, okay. So you're going.
That's what I'm saying. It's the average.
You're averaging. Oh, okay. Right.
Well, yeah, 30 and 30. That was the whole season. Come on, dude. All right.
I thought it was one game.
Yeah. I'll tell you what. Like, I was on Pat Fitzmaurice's pod. We recorded Monday, and then it went live on Tuesday. He asked me a similar question, about this offense and just what we thought about Kamara and my answer was literally like, yeah, I mean, we were all kind of buying into the, to this Winston, being a new passer type of thing. And, maybe this offense can figure it out, just being efficient and just dink and dunking and just feeding the ball to Kamara. But like, when you see this now, like, and look, I think we talked about it on that the NFC South show, right? Where it was like, look, Winston really just doesn't like to check the ball down. He wants to push it downfield. The problem is he doesn't have the receivers to really do that in this offense right now, especially without Michael Thomas. So if you get that and you don't get a lead, then Kamara's going to suffer. Because Kamara's not going to get those dink and dunks unless Peyton just forces it, which you were hoping was going to happen, but maybe it's not. And if they're losing, Kamara's not going to get handed the ball. Like, he's never been a hey, I'm going to hand the ball off to you 20 times type of guy. Like like we saw last week with Henry. Even though they were losing, they were just like, here, Derrick Henry, go win us the game. Like, what the hell happened? That was incredible, by the way.
Awesome.
I've never seen a running back bring a team back from like multiple scores down like that. It's unbelievable. I'm sure it's happened before. I'm sure somebody will.
Barry Sanders.
He single-handedly won me my week this past week.
Dude, he single-handedly won them the game from multiple scores down. It was unbelievable. I'm just sitting there like, I can't stop watching. This is nuts. Like, I can't believe this is actually going to happen. And then it did. Anyway, back to the point.
Just repeatedly like, well, we're going back to triple because Derrick Henry's got the ball again. And who the hell
Basically, yep. So and my point is, though, is like, I think there is a little bit of, worry, at least in my mind, about Kamara and like the usage he is going to get if Winston is on the field. Nobody likes Hill being there because Hill likes to Hill likes to run the ball himself. But I think Hill knows who his playmakers are, and one of them is definitely Kamara. So like that's going to be a more running team, and he's going to check down a little more because he knows that's the best player on the field right now, and that does worry me a little bit with Winston. So anyway.
Yeah, I think we've beat him into the ground enough for 2
Beat him into the forest?
Yes. Yeah. I mean, hey, get that sickle out. Nope. Get the manscape. All right. Derek Carr, you talked about him. Dude looks incredible. Is Vegas for real? I mean, is Chucky going to make this into a thing?
Man, you think about the 2 teams they've beaten in two teams that we thought were going to have really great defenses this year, Baltimore and Pittsburgh. And I think we all still do think that way. I mean, Carr has 817 passing yards. Tops of the league by over 100. His completion percentage, not phenomenal, but, in the mid-60s, so you're not complaining. He has, 4 touchdowns, only 1 pick. The one thing everybody kind of crapped on Derek Carr about was his deep ball, and he's at 50%. Okay. Yeah, I mean, look, I this team
last year, he didn't have anybody to throw deep to.
I mean, he was supposed to, because they were supposed to use Ruggs that way. But look,
Aguilar, the second coming of T-Rex.
Yeah, I know you like to knock on Aguilar, but Aguilar had a good season last year for them.
He had an awesome season last year. That's what we were hoping for in Philly, and that's what happens when you leave Philly. You're like, I have arms that aren't just elbows. Holy shit, I can catch balls.
I mean, look, he's still more of a dink-a-dunk guy. He's not going to be, all over the place. But the volume he has the volumes he's got right now is just crazy. Because the lack of the running game there, with Jacobs now currently being hurt, and he's, even if he comes back this week and plays, he's still banged up. He's not going to get used. Drake is a pass catching back. And then Peyton Barber? Like, come on, let's be real. Peyton Barber's not going to be the guy. But I mean, look, we saw Carr just like, when he needed
opportunity for Peyton Barber. We're excited about Peyton Barber and getting him on the field to see what he can do. Kenyon Drake's Kenyon Drake. All right, we're paying him a shit ton of money.
Okay, John Gruden. No, my thing here with Derek Carr in Vegas is like, look, this defense is years, like, steps above where we thought they were going to be. Like, the pass rush is phenomenal. Derek Carr has been good. He's been chucking it downfield a little more than we thought he would, and he's been completing a good percentage of them. Edwards has been good. Zay Jones caught a big pass. How crazy is that one? Ruggs even caught a big one last week, right? And then obviously we got Waller, and there's Renfro. This is a safe target. Like, he's got tons of weapons, and they're finally, like, working. So, and the fact that they don't have a running game means that the only way they're going to stay in the game, even though they have a now above average defense, is his arm. So I can buy in the fact that they beat the Ravens and the Steelers. Come on, they're not chump change teams. So, like, I feel like that's for real. Oh, they're not Super Bowl contenders, but I think they're going to be a very, very competitive team.
Yeah, I would pump those brakes. Or throw a wedge towards that Super Bowl wheel. But they have been impressive. And
very.
Week 1, that was a hell of a game. It went to overtime, 33-27. So the defense
should have won on the first drive. Replay. Come on.
Yeah. The defense wasn't as good, but last week, man, they were really, really good and locked down. I think this defense could start surprising people. Look at the offenses that they have.
I streamed them. I streamed them this week over the Rams.
I saw that. Yeah, you've got the Dolphins this week with a backup quarterback, and it's in Vegas. Then they go to the Chargers, so that's going to
they'll probably get dropped. I'm fine. I'm probably a pass. I just I felt like the pass rush has been good.
Broncos, that could be interesting. Eagles, okay. Giants, that's a win. Chalk that up. Suck it, I love you.
Oh my God.
Bengals, Cowgirls, football team. That could be like a game like last week's where it's just a knockdown, drag out, more defensive game. But I think there's a lot to like here right now.
Absolutely.
Obviously, we'll see how it plays out.
I'll tell you, my friend Scott, who's a huge Raiders fan, man, he is this is like the most excited he's been in a long time about this team. So and he should be, man. It's been incredible. So
All right, let's talk about Tom Brady.
Yeah. So Tom Brady, as much as I disdain for him, dude, after he did what he did last year, he's clearly the GOAT. And he's proving it once again at the beginning of this season. I mean, 9 touchdowns already, 2 picks, just carving teams up. I mean, first kind of funny question, is he going to break the single season TD record at this rate? He's well on pace. I mean, it's just like, oh my gosh, what's happening?
I mean, how can you even have this still be a record, though, if you add another game?
Okay, so let's even say in 16 games, he could at this pace he's above it he's in 16 games. 16. So like that's the thing. I guess that's where I go with it.
Or, week 18 technically, but
well, you know what I mean. So yeah, he could do it in 16 games pretty easily, I feel like. So yeah, it's one of those like, holy crap, what's happening? I mean, is this Bucs team just gonna steamroll teams at this point? Like the rate they're going on offense, or are teams gonna figure out that we shut down a guy here, the defense isn't playing quite up to the way we thought it would be, or is Tom Brady just gonna keep picking teams apart? Like if you take Mike Evans away 1 week, it's Antonio Brown and Godwin. If you take Antonio Brown 1 week, it's Mike Evans and Godwin. And then of course we got Gronk with 2 touchdowns both weeks. And as I mentioned last week, my mom gave me shit again for that. So that's awesome.
I started him this week.
I did too. Thankfully, scored an extra 20-something points in Scott Fish because of it. So
yeah. Well, this week will be interesting to find out because he's not going to have AB, which we'll get into a little later.
Probably not, but yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, Evans finally showed up a little bit more last week. I mean, again, it's just a team that's loaded with weapons. They purposely kept everybody from the Super Bowl team and then added a couple more weapons to it. So most of the time you don't really see that. Teams would love to do that, but not everybody has the capital to do it. And, I just think it's hard to bet against Brady at this point. The defense is pretty damn good. So I don't like the idea even going against that front four. It's just brutal. So
agreed. Yeah, you get down against that team, they can just pin their ears back and go. It's like it's like the old days of Peyton Manning's teams where maybe the defense wasn't phenomenal, but it was perfect for that system, right? So yeah, I mean, I think Tampa is a clear Super Bowl favorite again, coming in, and they have no reason not to be. So
yeah,
we do have a question that came in here. Let's read it here. The second take extra. I get Devontae Smith, Derek Carr, and give up Daniel Jones and Elijah Mitchell. The QB would be a QB3 for me in a Superflex league. So you're swapping Carr and Jones, you're giving up. Wait.
I would do that.
I'd easily do that. I mean, I like Smith's upside, and I like Carr over Jones 9 times out of 10. Matchups play a little bit harder than that, but I like Carr, especially now after the first couple weeks against really good defenses. So
I get
and Mitchell again, we just don't know. We just don't know with Mitchell.
Yeah,
so
I get the hesitation.
I like
because
that.
Of Mitchell, and because Daniel Jones plays for the Giants, but he has been a running threat with Saquon, being a little better.
Yeah, absolutely.
He's got a hell of a lot of rushing yards so far this season. So, but still, you gotta take the better players in both. Both on that side, Smith and Carr, absolutely. Because Carr could potentially be your QB2, depending on who else you have. I mean, I don't know, but
He's my QB2 in a super flex. Scott Fish, baby. Yeah.
that's what I'm saying. Like
Reaping the benefits.
Him as a QB3 is just like okay.
Yeah, easy. So
Yeah.
All right, well, let's finish things up here, man, and
All right.
then we jump into the rest.
Will do. So, speaking of QBs again, Josh Allen. Kind of alluded to this last week a little bit. I mean, he does not look like the Josh Allen from, last year. So, what are we doing here? I mean, you're looking at 56% completion, 47 for 84. It's only got 449 yards, 3 touches, 1 pick. I mean, the completion percentage alone is just extremely concerning. And, that was one of the things that he took a huge step forward in last year, going 58 to Gronk, 69. So,
yeah.
I mean, is it Rodgers relaxed time? It's only two weeks, or are we worried?
I mean, look, he has played, 2 pretty solid defenses. He played Pittsburgh and he played Miami. They're legit defenses. So I don't want to knock him too hard for that. But look, he destroyed Miami last year twice. So you really want to have, you really wanted to see him, bounce back after week 1 where, he threw the ball 51 times. For 59% completion percentage, and even though 51 times attempted, only threw for 270 yards and 1 touchdown. That's not what you want. You were hoping for way better than that. I mean, I don't. It's so hard to say, and this week, like, he's playing Washington, and I know Washington's defense hasn't quite been what we all thought it was going to be this year so far, but they're still legit, so I kind of think he could struggle again. Washington, even though they lost against the Chargers, they still held Herbert kind of in check, for fantasy point wise. So I'm not expecting a big blow up game out of Allen at this week either. Maybe it was one of those things where, like, the Bills were so bad the year before, they had one of those, like, easy schedules, and maybe he just, like, ran through the schedule, and just ripped through it, and maybe we're waiting for him to play the Jets. Who knows? Like, but you're, excuse me, you're not going to get that this year from him. He's going to have a tough schedule. His off games are going to be against teams like Pittsburgh instead of, the Jaguars. That's going to be the difference this year, and maybe that's going to make a bigger difference than we all thought. So I am slightly concerned. Like, I'm not going to bench him unless for some random reason you got, like, Pat Mahomes and him, which would be silly. But I've seen crazier things done. But yeah, I mean, he's still going to run. I still think the touchdowns will, he'll be in the upper 20s, low 30s for the most part. It's that completion percentage that really is going to bother me. So
yeah.
Unless it starts climbing.
I'm not overly worried yet on Allen. I want to see what he can do. I was assuming that this year would be a bit of a fall off in general, just because he put up a crazy good season last year. Everything kind of worked in his favor, and the schedule, health of his receivers, it just, all of that has to play in. And not saying that there's major health issues right now, but you don't really have much of a running game anymore, without Moss there or doing anything.
Singletary's been going damn well, though. Really, like, that's good. The thing.
I mean, you don't have the two-headed rush attack that you thought we were going to have because Singletary's been so good.
Yeah.
But last year, that two-headed, backfield really worked well for them.
Actually, no, it didn't. That's why he had so many passing yards.
I know.
But anyway,
Sarcasm.
right. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not too worried about.
I'm not like throwing the flag, trying to trade him, low or anything like that. I think he's, there's a little bit of concern because I do have him in a couple best balls and things like that, but I'm not going crazy yet. We do have a couple more questions here.
Yeah.
Well, we have a question and a half, I guess, so far. So the end is is it injured McCaffrey who isn't out for the season tradable? No. I mean, what are you gonna get? I mean, if you can just steal players for you can get like 2 top 10 players for McCaffrey, fine, but like you still got to get like super top notch talent for McCaffrey because he's not out. He might miss a few weeks. It's a hamstring pull. You hope he didn't like tear it completely. That's all you're hoping for at this point. I mean, if you're worried that that's what it is, then yeah, trade him for whatever you can get, I guess. But I personally wouldn't do it. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, obviously you want to trade him before he's ruled out for the season. But
we're not going to know until we know. And then at that point it's too late. So
I don't
trying
hate it, but when he's
again,
healthy,
what are you going to get at this point? Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think
people are going to be worried. We saw the injury. Everybody's worried about it. So what are you going to
Yeah, I would hold for now, unless you get somebody coming at you with a crazy offer. Then okay.
It's got to be a really good deal, in my opinion.
Maybe
you still got to get top-notch talent back for him at this point before it is determined that he's out for like 8 weeks or 12 weeks, and then possibly this season. So, so next question here from the Forgotten Dumpling: would you accept this trade? Devontae Adams and Austin Eckler for Kupp, Gibson, Cordell Patterson, and Crowder. Which side would you want, AJ? I'll let you go first.
I think I'd rather have the Adams Eckler side.
Me too.
Personally.
Me too. I know Kupp's been crazy good, but we've seen Kupp do this before and just
yeah, and I think he's still
got it.
Like his upside with Stafford there. I think he can continue along this pace. I'm personally not a huge Antonio Gibson guy because of the injury history. Patterson is, a waiver wire pickup this week and went for big dollars in a couple of places that I saw, and then went for no dollars in a couple other places I saw. Crowder.
Crowder and Patterson don't really do much with it.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like the guy's just trying to unload, hot starts and potential upside.
Well, I don't know which side is which because it's hard to say here. Would you accept this trade? I would accept. I would take the Adams Eckler side. I think they're the higher talent. They're who you draft at this point. They're who you drafted higher, for the most part, and there's a good reason for it. And Eckler hasn't had the start we want because he's been banged up early on, but he had a bounce back week last week at 9 catches. Adams is going to come around. We saw Rodgers bounce back. So, granted, all 4 touchdowns went to Jones randomly. So, that's not going to happen though. Adams is going to get his. I would take that side over the other in a heartbeat. So I agree with you, man. All right, let's do our injury talk here. And, real quick, all the quarterbacks, all the guys we mentioned. That's quick. But then randomly, Lamar was put on the injury list with a non-COVID illness and apparently a hip injury because he flipped into the end zone like a dumbass on Sunday. And that's what happens when you do stupid things like that. But I think he's going to be fine. He'll probably play.
They won the game.
Yes, they did. That was unbelievable, by the way. I did not think they were going to win that game. I'll be honest. I'll rip through the running backs here, then you can do the rest here. So, obviously, all the 49ers, Elijah Mitchell, we got Trey Sermon and Hasty. Who knows what's going to actually happen? We all know Hasty's out for sure. And then we got Josh Jacobs, questionable with a toe ankle. He's been practicing with a non-contact jersey on, so Darrell Henderson's questionable with a rib injury. We got DeAndre Swift, questionable with a groin. You got Antonio Gibson, questionable with a shoulder, but he's looking.
Didn't I just talk about him?
Maybe. And then
that's silly.
But it sounds like he's on the path to play. I'm gonna skip one and save the big boomer for last. Miles Sanders, questionable with a chest injury. And then Dalvin Cook in such a choice matchup, man. Questionable with an ankle injury, has not practiced yet all week, so we really need him to practice Friday in order for him to really play. So that's a big whammy if he does not play. That would suck something awful, and he would have been like a slam dunk play for me in DFS, but because of that injury, I'm kind of holding off because, I mean, I don't know if I really want to put even Madison as a slam dunk play, even at I think it was only 6,000. But it's a really tough play because just even the smallest tweak in the first quarter, because Cook is still the second highest price running back, or maybe third. Maybe he did slip just behind Henry after last week. But there's $100 apart. But it's tough, man. It's such a tough play there, but I think ultimately you have to go there. If in a redraft, I think you're plugging him in DFS. I think you can go other ways. Before you jump into the receivers, we do have one more question again. From Jason Kenobi, should I trade Aaron Jones and Mike Evans for Kupp and Montgomery? That's close, man. I do because I like Kupp slightly more than Evans at this point, but I like Jones. I think I like Jones just that much more than Montgomery. So I think I'm sticking with the Jones and Evans side. What do you think?
I think I have to.
Evans is going to drive you nuts. I get it.
Bit of recency bias because Jones had such a huge game last week.
Kupp has had 2 monster games, so that's got to be recency bias too.
So I know, but that's what you're gonna, if you do this trade, and then Kupp kind of levels out a little bit. Montgomery is good, but Evans is up and down like he always is, and Jones continues to have games similar to that, maybe not that many touchdowns in a game, but hey, we keep talking year after year, the touchdowns have got to come down. They're not. They don't go away. So
that's why I bought high into him. As soon as Rodgers came back for the Packers, I moved Jones from running back 13 or 14 all the way up to running back 5 or 6. I forget what he finished at for me, but it was right behind all the Henry, the Henry and Cook and McCaffrey's, and stupidly had it behind Zeke. But it was right there. It was I think it was McCaffrey, Cook, Kamara, Henry, and Jones and Zeke were flip-flopping right at the end. So yeah, Jones is just too high up there for me. Montgomery is still sort of, I'm not sure what he is yet, and maybe he's way better with Fields there, but I don't know. But we've seen Kupp do this too, where he has these blow up weeks time and time again, and then just disappears. Evans, we know, does that, but I'm not gonna buy 2 high weeks off a Kupp to get rid of an elite talent in Aaron Jones, and we know Evans can be an elite talent too. Yeah. So I'm gonna stick with who you got, unfortunately, Kenobi. So. But not unfortunately for you, I think. So I think it'll win out if you decline that trade. But it's close. I'm not gonna lie, it is close. All right, let's do the receivers here.
So receivers, we've got Cleveland, Ohio. Jarvis Landry has been put on the IR with a knee injury, and OBJ looks like he was still questionable when I looked at it earlier, but it sounds like he's good to go.
Yep.
So we could see him
barring a setback. Yep. That'll be big.
Yeah. Amari Cooper, you suck. I'm sorry. Questionable with ribs. You got Hollywood.
Tell us how you really feel.
Brown is questionable with shoulder, I'm guessing. I stopped typing.
Yeah, I guess you did. That wasn't me.
Yeah.
Shoulder, yes.
Shin? Or it could
Shin?
just be undisclosed. I don't know.
We're super.
Shut up, I'm not telling you. Deontay Mike Johnson is questionable with a knee injury. Darnell Mooney, who we talked about earlier and alluded to talking about again here, is questionable with a groin injury, too much tummy sticks. You got Paris Campbell questionable with an abdomen. Could have been the receiver of the tummy sticks. Nico Collins is on the IR with shoulder injury. Russell Gage is questionable with an ankle injury. I like to shorten things and then explain them to make them longer. T. Higgins is questionable with a shoulder. Looks like he'll probably play, but something to monitor. And as we stated earlier, Antonio Brown is on the COVID list, but could potentially play. Tight end.
No,
G-man.
dude, Antonio Brown's
G-man.
probably not playing, man. Like, seriously,
Evan Ingram.
he's got to have 2 negative tests within 24 hours of each other, and I don't think he has one yet. So, like, he's not playing.
Brown is,
Yeah.
I was jumping ahead and reading the should play next to Ingram.
Oh, sorry. Okay.
I had to poke fun at the Giants. Yeah.
Okay, I gotcha.
Ingram, I mean, I think it'll be good to get him back out there. He is a talented, receiving tight end when he's healthy. He's just never healthy. So
Right.
Still dealing with this calf, questionable for now, but should play. Zach Ertz is on the COVID list, so probably not playing.
Probably not.
Yeah,
So.
probably.
All right, let's finish up here with our DFS plays and picks of the week. I'm going to start off here with our smash plays, and I'm going back to pretty much who we had last week, and it is Kyler Murray at Jacksonville, 8,300. I mean, how can you not? This defense is atrocious, and even though it might be a blowout, it's probably going to be a blowout because Murray's going to do what Murray does, and that's been efficient play, running the ball, and throwing to his main boy, who is a stack play here at, another high dollar value here, but, DeAndre Hopkins.
Hopkins. Sorry.
Right.
I spelled Hopkins way wrong.
Right. Anyway, Hopkins is my stack with him. Another smash play for me is Justin Herbert. I know he's kind of struggled a little bit. It hasn't quite shown the value that we wanted yet. But, dude, he's dropped to 6,500. Going against Kansas City, and like this could be a shootout. I mean, this could be like a 60, 70-point game, man. This could be nasty. Kind of like what we saw with Baltimore and KC. I think we could see something similar.
Yeah.
You can literally stack him with anybody on any of his top 3 targets. And it's hard to say you can stack with a running back, but in this case you can. Austin Eckler, who's the most expensive out of the 3 I'm about to mention. Keenan Allen and Mike Williams. Mike Williams, by the way, has seen double-digit targets in both weeks, something we haven't seen in a long time for him, if ever 2 weeks in a row. Like, I don't know. I don't have the history of that, but like we're used to Mike Williams getting 6, 7 targets max, catching 3 of them for 80 yards and hopefully a touchdown. That's what he's been, but it's been a different story this year with him, and I'm liking what I'm seeing 2 weeks in a row, and I think he can do it a 3rd week in a row with KC on the docket here because they're going to have to pass to keep up with Kansas City big time. And then the last thing, and this should just be like the disclaimer every single week, Travis Kelce and Darren Waller, always. Like, if you can figure out how to get those 2 into your roster on DK every single freaking week because they are so high volume in a PPR style league, which DK is, these guys are monster, and they're obviously they're like a tier above everybody else. I get that Gronk and Hawkinson are have closed the gap so far in for the first 2 weeks, but these guys are going to be the cream of the crop when it comes all said and done, and you're going to you're going to probably win more weeks than not if you have them in your lineup. And obviously you got to do a lot of other things right, but they're going to help you because they're just that much of a difference maker, in my opinion. So
That's right.
you want to run through the fades here?
I do. Fades. Josh Allen, we already talked about his down season so far. I don't think it's getting any better against Washington. At 7,000, it's a steep price to pay for somebody going up against a solid football team defense. Kamara, 8,200. Again, very high priced. Could be worth it most weeks, but this week going up against New England, Belichick's gonna have to force Winston to beat him, not Kamara. Belichick's just sitting there like,
No, look what he did. Look what he did to the Jets, man.
15
How
interceptions in this game.
How nasty was that, what he did with the Jets and Corey Davis? They're like, we're going to take Corey Davis away from you. Corey Davis had, an amazing week 1, right? Corey Davis
he destroyed week 1, and he destroyed his owners in week 2.
And then, of course, what he did with what he did to, a rookie quarterback again. Not that Winston's a rookie quarterback, but again, Wilson, oh, my goodness. It's just
rookie Winston.
He's so good, man.
I don't know.
He's so good at doing that, so.
Yeah.
I'm off Kamara. I'm off Kamara this week.
Running back fade. You got Barkley. He's probably going to be one of our fades every week until he starts getting more involved and shows that he's actually
injured.
Healthy. He's just too expensive to risk that biscuit. A-Rob, 6,200. Not a terrible price for him, but we need to see this offense succeed with Justin Fields before we can really feel comfortable with A-Rob. Unless you're playing, 150 lamp, whatever cash game.
It's gonna be
in there in a couple of them.
It's gonna be hard to trust that. We haven't seen him really do much anyway. And so I just need to see this offense do more. That was something. So we got a touchdown. Who is that?
Tommy Tremble.
Okay. Thanks Carolina for nothing. Nah, I've heard the name. It's not anybody cared about. Anyway, let's do our DFS values here. Actually, let's get to a question here real quick. So we got Jason Kenobi again. What are your opinions on CEH? I've got a few. I don't know, man. Hey Jay, what's your thoughts here? He's been struggling.
Yeah. I do own him in Fish, and I refuse to drop Darrell Williams because I own him in Scott Fish.
You should be right about that. So
yeah, Williams is still going to eventually get his. I am a little worried about it right now. I don't know if the pressure is building up and getting to him. Last year he had so much hype. It could be understandable, but this year he was, the belle of the ball as far as bounce back seasons go. And he hasn't really bounced that far off of where he was. So
he's actually been worse, dude. Honestly, he's been worse.
Worried. I am concerned.
I am concerned too. The one thing that you will the one thing that you can kind of hope for, right, is that look, he did sprain the ankle, week 2 of the preseason or whatever, and that can take a few weeks to kind of heal. So maybe he's not 100%. The weird thing is though, is look, what did we say when he got drafted? What did you say when he got drafted? Except for haha, Joe, I told you so. Was
it's an Andy Reid offense.
He's an Andy Reid offense, and what do they like to do with their running backs? Throw to them.
Yeah.
And especially throw them. And CEH did what in college? Get thrown to a crap ton. So it's just shocking that he has and I think Sleeper was, and I was gonna look it up today, but I didn't have to because thankfully Sleeper did it for me. They put out a notice, like a little news alert here that said Clyde Edwards-Helaire was a record-setting receiving back at LSU, including playoffs. CEH has appeared in 17 games with the Chiefs and only has 42 catches. Yeah. He's also only seen 3 targets in their first 2 games this year. That is super concerning. I don't think you can cut him or trade him at this point because unless you are just bailing, like you just want to bail, and just take pennies on the dollar at this point because nobody's giving you crap for him at this point. I wouldn't. But look, if your league is different and maybe somebody will give you a late like a low end RB2 for him, I'd probably take it at this point. Like I think I'm out of CEH. I just feel like the Chiefs and Mahomes and everybody is just looking elsewhere, and elsewhere is Hill and Kelsey because that's all they look at. Even Robinson and Pringle said the same thing, and Hardman even said the same thing. Like, well, what am I supposed to do behind these 2 awesome guys? Like, I'm only going to get so many targets. Like, great, awesome.
Damn right,
thanks.
You are.
That's why I didn't like anybody else on that team outside of CEH besides those 2, and I was a little wrong on that, but I bought the late helium on him because everybody was like, oh, he's got to be better. Well, yeah, you're probably right. Well, we were wrong so far. So. Look, and honestly, that goes into one of our value plays here. So, my question was, is 4,800 on DK, which is like below backup running back level at this point for some teams, is that enough of a value for you to want to take him and plug him into your lineup this week against the Chargers?
Again, if you're in a lot of different lineup leagues, or contests with a lot of different lineups, I have no problem risking that and throwing them in to see what happens. If you're playing a single lineup, I don't hate it, but I would be scouring for some of the other guys, like James White or Javonte Williams, who's $100 more than that.
Yes, and James White is money because it's PPR. Yes. He's seen 6 catches both weeks, so at least you're getting 6 points plus whatever yards, and he's going to fall in the end zone probably.
Over him. Now,
love that.
We did talk about this game potentially going blowout style. If it's going to do that, I feel like they're going to need to have a bit more of a balanced attack, unless they're just bombing the hell out of the ball.
Which game, though? Which game?
The Colts. Jesus. Sorry, China Doll. The Chiefs and the
I don't think it's going to be blowout. I think it's going to be like shootout style.
No, that's sorry.
But again, we saw a shootout last week with Baltimore, and we didn't see CH get involved. So I still like White more. And look, I put Javonte Williams against the Jets at 4,900, and I put James White against the New Orleans at 4,900, both above. And then I saw CEH sitting there, and I was like, whoa, 48! Like that's insane. Like I didn't expect that. So that's where I don't know what to think of it. So I just put it there as the question. Like I don't know what to do there. I still got to think about that one, and ask people who are way better at DFS than me. Like what do we do with the CEH value? Like are we just gonna make a few lines and throw them in and pray it works, or are we just off of it still because he's just been atrocious so far? I mean, but I really do like
into the threes.
Dude, I really do like James White though. I'm gonna be honest with you. I really love this James White play. I think Mac Jones hasn't been utilizing his tight ends as much as we were gonna think he was going to. He's instead just dumping it to James White because he's a rookie and it's like he's a safety valve, and it's been money so far. So like at 4,900, that's an awesome value. Like you can go high end one running back, James White, go high end, and then it goes load up with receivers in the middle. Maybe you can find some value at receiver, which we'll share here in a minute, and get one of those Kelseys and Wallers and just load up here. So a couple of these value receivers here that I'm talking about. And again, like maybe you don't have to stack Murray with Hopkins. I think you could stack Murray with either Rondell Moore at 5K or even Christian Kirk at 5.4. I think I'd go more than Kirk, honestly. And then like a cheaper play here, which I'm actually surprised he's still this cheap. KJ Osborne at 3,500. He's been the Vikings like number 2 receiver so far, ahead of Justin Jefferson for fantasy. Is it going to continue a third week? Who knows? But at 3,500, you can take that risk easily and then just go super high with some of these other guys. You go get the Hopkins and the Diggs or whoever you want. Like, I'm just thinking of 2 high-end guys who I know are there. Like, that's what you can do, and you go after these guys who have been performing and their values haven't caught up yet for whatever reason. The last guy here, and look, this isn't like a super value play, but it is who, based off of talent, in my opinion, Robert Woods. 5,700. I know it hasn't been there yet. He's going against Tampa. I see this being a bit of a shootout as well. Tampa hasn't really shut anybody down yet, and I don't think they're going to shut down the Rams either. That offense has been really good, and I think it's Woods' turn finally, right? If you want to call it like that, and I think 5,700 could be a very, very good play there. The last thing I'll say here, and I mentioned it earlier, like a little bit of a value play just because they're so much cheaper than Kelsey and Waller at tight end, and they've been pretty much as good, is Gronk and Hawkinson. If you want to take the risk there, it's 5,500 and 5,200. And honestly, I think I'd go Hawk a little over Gronk just because I think he's a little safer in PPR formats. And he is, excuse me, is $300 cheaper. So, but I get it. Gronk's been the touchdown champ. So, but it's tough to predict touchdowns. I'd rather predict volume. So that's the way I would go there.
Yeah, I mean, and obviously we have to once again go back to the Forest and Bobby Trees. I mean, 5,700 for him.
That's cheap, man. It feels super cheap.
Super cheap.
It's like cheaper than, it's cheaper than A-Rob, and he's got a better quarterback.
Yeah.
Right? What?
I really like for him to break out this week. This might be my favorite game of this week between LA and Tampa Bay. But you do have to think about, well, I was thinking about this earlier when you first started talking about him. Tom Brady is familiar with LA from the Super Bowl, but that was a golf Super Bowl. Golf's not there. And
different
Tom's
team.
on a different team. So it doesn't work at all. So don't even listen to anything that I just said in the last 30
years
seconds.
apart.
But
glad you said it.
Love Bobby Trees this week. And the one I don't think we mentioned yet was Derek Carr versus Miami at 5,900.
Oh, I didn't. I sort of mentioned it earlier. That's why I just skipped over it. My bad. But yeah, you're right. Yeah, it's a super cheap quarterback play. And I think just because of the way he's been playing, if you want to punt quarterback, which is something I don't typically do in DK, especially cash games, which is what I play more often than not. I don't play in the GPPs just because I don't bankroll like that. I play in high-end cash games and just head-to-heads and things like that. But if you want to, Carr is a phenomenal value against Miami, who I think they're going to do well against.
Yeah.
And so, especially since they've done well against 2 better defenses, in my opinion. So, all right, man, that is all we've got for the show. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and good luck in week 3, unless you're playing me, of course. Any final words, AJ?
I don't think I am. So
Near not. I'm playing the Presto in our league, and he's going to smash me. Probably. He's got a good team. So, oh, well. Good. It is what it is.
I will.
Thanks for that.
I will say, on that note, congrats on your win in fantasy baseball, the F6P League. I have not
repeats
been in paying attention since
A lot of teams weren't.
So,
yeah, I'm back to back with a COVID year in between, which we didn't really play. We sort of like everybody like half-assed it. So I'm gonna say it's a repeat.
Yeah,
Sorry, I'm gonna asterisk repeat that one if I'm allowed to.
Yeah, sure.
Because nobody
You
like
don't, I will.
like
So,
half the league didn't play, and like we used our same rosters, but nobody really paid attention or made moves, and me included, because it was nobody put money into it because we didn't want to. We didn't know it was gonna happen. But thank you again. Well, not thank you again, but thank you for the congratulations. I had
absolutely
kind of forgot about it. Honestly, feels weird, but I did. So, all right, let's end this. Peace out, guys. See y'all next week.